Whenever you're ready, Mr. Chair.
Okay, roll call first. Mr. Birkenbein?
He recused from this review.
Okay. Dr. Currents?
I'm present.
And I'm Rick Gonzalez, the chair and design professional for this board.
Rick, I'm on. Tom Warren.
Oh, hi, Tom.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Good.
Ms. Huber?
Present.
Thank you. Dr. Goodall?
Present, and just Ryan is fine.
Okay. Thank you, Ryan.
And Mr. Chair, Mr. Goodall's gonna have to leave at 2:20, but we will still be able to keep quorum when he leaves.
Okay, Mr. Goodall. Ryan, we'll let you make comments first if you wish when we get to that point. Mr. Sensbar?
Noah won't be able to join us today.
Okay. Is that Matt?
Yes, it is. Hi, Rick.
Okay, we have Mr. Williams here too. So we have a quorum. So item 2, review and approval of the 10/16/24 draft. I've gone over it. It looks fine. Do I have a motion?
I move that we approve it.
Second?
Second,
Thank you.
Who seconded? I'm sorry.
Ryan.
Okay, thank you.
All right, item 3, call to the audience.
Mr. Chair, we have to make a voting to accept the law.
I'm sorry. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the 113:21 minutes, say aye.
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 I'll abstain. I wasn't at the meeting.
I think we're not approving the 113 minutes. We're approving the minutes from 2 weeks ago, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you for
10/16.
noticing that.
Yeah.
I'm
Thank you.
sorry.
I will make that correction.
I'm just following the prompt there. I should have thought of that. So let's see, it was the 120, is that what it was?
10/16, Mr. Chair.
16. The 116 minutes have been motioned and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 And I'm abstaining since I wasn't present at that meeting.
Okay, so I know we got at least 4 there. I approve. Who's left?
I think it was 4-0, Mr. Chair. With the correction that Dr. Currens pointed out that needs to be done on the date of the previous law.
Okay, is there any opposed? Hearing none, the motion has passed. If I have this right, 5-0. Item 3, call to the audience. Anyone who wishes to speak may speak up to 3 minutes. Okay, hearing no one, we will proceed to item 4, SD 0624-00061, Capstone Student and Workforce Housing and related activities on parcels. And we've given copies of my design professional review as well as the historic review. And those recommendations were presented in the last meeting. They've both been approved. On the 16th, we held a study session, and that was reflected in the action report. So I'm thinking, staff, if I'm not correct, we have the applicant present the project.
Yes, Mr. Chair, Noel Grisman is here, and I also wanted to let you know this project is gonna be reviewed by the Plan Review Subcommittee of the Tucson-Pima County Historical Commission on November 5th.
Thank you.
So, Noel, if you wanna share your screen.
Certainly. Let me pull this up real quick. And let's see if this is going to be cooperative today. Technology has not been my friend all week for some reason. Okay, I think that should be working.
We see it.
All right, there we go. All right, well, for the record, Noel Grimsman, with the law firm of Snell Wilmer up in Phoenix, 1 East Washington Street in downtown. And thank you all again for your time today and getting everybody together to review our project here for Capstone. I won't, unless anybody would like, I'm happy to, but in the interest of time, again, presentation essentially, the site at Euclid and Speedway on the southeast corner. And as we discussed last time, an assemblage over the years of various historic homes that we've relocated or will be rehabbing in place. Houses have been moved. And we had our amendment to the main gate overlay, which has been reviewed by the design professional as mentioned, as well as the historic design professional. And we have our design team here to talk a little bit about the design if you'd like to get further into that. But the kind of main comment that we had heard from our discussion last time was a couple questions. One on sort of what was happening with the 2 retained homes, and so the plan right now is the exteriors will be restored back up to a contributing level. So going back through those elevations and paint, fixing wood, etc. And then also program those for being rental units. The exact layout hasn't been figured out yet. That's still in process. But those will be reactivated as rentals as part of the complex. And the other item I think we talked about a bit related to kind of there's some questions about just some of the nuisance water and some of the concerns that we'd heard from the community early on. And this is just a rough exhibit of kind of how those things have been thought of. And I have the design team here with Matt Jansen. I'll turn it over to Matt if you want to talk a little bit about kind of how we were managing those items. And then with that, we can go through anything else y'all like, but just wanted to keep it kind of brief for everybody outside of those things, unless there are additional comments or questions.
Yeah, I can run through this real quickly.
Thank you.
There were 3 or 4 different things that we heard at the last discussion we had 2 weeks ago. And just wanted to make sure that in the new package you've been received that those have been addressed. One was the confirmation of numbers throughout the entire package of number of units and number of beds that we're proposing. Those numbers are all synced up. On the first page, they're written down in that matrix that you see at the bottom of the page, and those should be consistent throughout the entire package. Noel just talked about the historic houses. We're in the process right now of measuring those and having a look at the interior of them so that we can adequately update them and make them to be part of the holistic project as a whole. And then third, which Noel just mentioned, was the stormwater runoff. So in the discussion with the city, we have over the past 9 months to a year gone through a number of iterations of how we are going to mitigate stormwater runoff. This diagram here, number 1 on the page that you're looking at, showcases a couple different ones. In fact, I think, Noel, you're actually showing a previous version of this. So if you could actually...
Let me hand over the screen to you, sir.
Okay, grand. And I just want to show these real quick because we can all see my screen now. Okay, great. So what we're showing here is this was the first passage that we did of creating underground detention in a series of pipes underneath the parking garage for stormwater to go there. This was dismissed through conversations with the city and our structural that those weren't going to be able to work. We also had an investigation into dry well here at the front of the historic houses underground, so that water coming off of the stormwater system within the building would fill this 3-foot diameter pipe along underneath the sidewalk along Euclid and then percolate down into the groundwater here through the dry wall system. I've also color coded around this here in the dark green around the existing historic houses, the wrap stormwater harvesting system that we've got in place that is consistent to today, that is allowing water to come into it and percolate down into the groundwater system, as well as a series of stormwater planters that we placed around the building. Those in a lot of ways are there to improve the public right-of-way experience for pedestrians, as well as provide for plantings along the edge of the building. We are currently this, and then the other thing that just to note is down to the south of us along Euclid, we've got our First Ave, the First Street bioswale that's getting installed through conversations with the neighborhood. What is currently happening with stormwater off of the building is that it's getting detained within this 3-foot diameter pipe. It has a pump inside of it, and then in off hours, that excess water that gets stored there when it hits a certain level then gets pumped during the middle of the night into Euclid, which then runs it down to the bioswale. We are in conversation, and all these systems that I've just talked about, we are more than willing to do, and want to make sure that we're improving the quality of the systems in the neighborhood as a whole. And we are continuing those conversations with the city to come up to a solution that everybody is really happy with. I would want to pass it off right now to Joe Villasenor, because he's been having those conversations at the city and probably can give a much better overview of that conversation, just so the commission as a whole understands sort of the efforts that we've gone through to try and resolve this. Joe?
Thank you, Matt. Mr. Chair, members of the committee, thank you for your opportunity to share with you. The past few months, we have been working diligently with Joshua Garcia, who's the lead civil engineer with the city of Tucson, along with our project manager from the city of Tucson, Warren Shamus. All of the options that Matt has laid out for you are obviously options that make the site better in terms of drainage. Currently, where we're at is the city of Tucson is evaluating all of those options to determine what group of them make the best, make the site the best, and what options would work best for the site based on Tucson kind of building code and stormwater code. Today, we are still in those discussions. I think we are much closer. Some staff members on the phone may be on the phone, but as part of those ongoing conversations, we while we were looking at our site, we additionally, found out through some old history, the design of the bioswale. That was a city project that was to help address some of the black water runoff from the buildings that are to our due east. And so as part of our overall improvements that we're proposing, the bioswale is one of those improvements. And so while the city has not finalize the checklist of those improvements that they want us to finalize in our final design, we definitely are open to every one of them, have provided them options and designs for most of them, and we look forward to working with the city. I do believe some city members may be on the phone, like Warren Shamus or Josh Garcia, who can actually add a little bit more color to that if they wish, or if the committee wishes. Thank you.
If I may just interject quickly, because that, this issue is one of the things I've been working on with the city for, but it's been like 12 years. So I just want to make sure that we are moving, like, getting accurate information, because the bioswale has kind of been in play for several years without like forward movement. So hopefully what we're talking about here is actually forward movement that will tie into the retention systems that you all are proposing for this project as well. Because if you're relying on that and it's not going in, then obviously that, we need to make sure that we're reconciling that.
So, Mr. Chair and members of the committee, and committee member, I think that was Matt, is that correct? I'm looking at my phone here.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah,
Matt Williams.
You're absolutely correct. We spent 5 years conversing with the community and knew about this problem probably in year 2. And we have witnessed it. The time that I spent in Tucson this summer with all the rainwater and all the things going on, witnessed it as well firsthand. The bioswale was kind of a surprise to us. We didn't know it was there, and we didn't know that it was something being considered for many years. And what we do have in our hands today are plans that are 100% designed. We don't know the circumstance of why the city had not started, whether it could have been a budget issue or something like that. We just don't know. But in what we're proposing to do is actually we already have provided some estimates to the city for what we believe it would cost to build, and we are more than happy to integrate that into our overall kind of design and build it ourselves, so there's no more delay in that as well. So we are 100% committed to the bioswale, and we believe that it is a community benefit. We committed to this community that we would do something to improve the area, and now that we know the bioswale, we feel your pain, and we know that intersection very well, and we again are committed to doing that.
Is there a city component here that is able to comment on that? I mean, that's great. Obviously, that's the rhetoric I'm hoping to hear, but I'm also looking for like the city, component to support that, to make sure that, what are the holdups, after this long, with a fully, completed design, like what are we doing to make sure that this is incorporated and moving forward? Is there a city representative who can speak to that?
I can comment a little bit to that. I'm Josh Garcia. I'm with Planning Development Services. I actually just got out of a meeting with the city engineer, Alfred Zuniga, and Robin Rain, who's one of the deputy directors of transportation. And I'm getting ready to call and set up a follow-up meeting with them. They're the ones who provided the bioswale to Capstone. The plans were completed, 100% reviewed, ready for construction. There was never any actual budget to construct it by the city. And so as we were going through these discussions for the drainage issues for Capstone, those plans came up, that conversation started where we can have an offsite improvement that's going to actually help the entire neighborhood, included as part of this project. And right now, the department is completely on board with its construction as part of the Capstone project.
So then I guess I want to confirm that as per the review of this project, it is being included that the bioswale is also to be constructed within this design that's being proposed here. Is that correct?
Because it's in the right of way, it's going to be attached as part of the PIA process, which is transportation's plan review and construction process. But yes, it is part of the entire site improvements for the Capstone project.
Okay. And then just another quick question regarding water retention and some of the effluents that we have seen from every other project. I was noting that Capstone is saying the fire suppression system, testing water will be discharged to sewer, as well as pool cleaning and whatnot. That is also part of this? I just want to confirm that because in the past, that's been an issue with Pima County being that they operate the sewer. So
I can't confirm that, but I can confirm that we're having conversations with Pima County wastewater to ensure that they have capacity for that.
okay,
So it does
and
end up Pima County, basically their call for it, but we're in conversations. They believe that it's going to be acceptable after it goes through a sand separator, some filter mechanism. But those conversations are ongoing right now, so I can't guarantee it, but I can say that they've been promising so far.
okay, so we don't actually have a commitment for that water. So that water could potentially also be discharged to the stormwater system.
No, it won't be discharged to the stormwater system. It may
Then-
be detained on site via another mechanism and then discharged based on however Pima County can accept it. So the capacity is the problem right now. They're determining the capacity for that discharge, and it may need to be detained in its release versus just released into the sanitary sewer system. So
So then
that's
I
where
get-
their conversation's going on.
Okay, so then there is then still a commitment via this project that those effluent sources will
Will not be just
and
distributed
will not be
to the road.
discharged to the stormwater system.
Correct.
Okay. Just want to make sure because this is obviously part of the record, so I just want to confirm that we have it's part of the record that will not happen. Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
And the problem is that there are several moving parts that we all have to come together to finalize. That's why it's kind of hard to speak to some of these, because Pima County is a different jurisdiction in charge of the wastewater, and we have to discharge per their terms, and we're working on doing that. So and then transportation owns the right of way, so that's why the bioswale is being constructed under the PIA process. So there are a lot of moving parts, but we're all on the same page going forward with the
Right.
project.
That's great. I just want to make sure that we have those commitments, recorded here, because obviously that becomes a part of, the contingency of the project and, certificate of occupancy and whatnot. So just want to confirm that that's all incorporated.
Okay.
If I may, Mr. Commissioner Matt,
Yep.
we, again, as you've heard from Joshua, there's just a lot of moving parts here. We've been dealing with this for over 2 months, 2 to 3 months. We appreciate Joshua Garcia's leadership in all of this. He's been absolutely just wonderful and understanding both the community concerns, what we're trying to achieve. And we definitely have parity all across the board of making this better. When the bioswale came to fruition for us, it was relief, because we felt like it was an option that would help improve what we're doing today. So thank you for your comments. Thank you for your questions. As on the record, Capstone is fully committed to that bioswale, fully committed to whatever we need to do to make this better.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. I mean, obviously, as the neighborhood representative and just somebody who's been involved in all the projects in the main gate, and seeing the impacts, we've really worked and struggled with that particular thing. I mean, among many, but definitely that particular element. And we just haven't really received any information about its progress or its ability to be constructed, under Carlos de la Torre. I don't know if he's still the one in charge of it, but he was for the longest time, and it just felt like it was pushed aside, and the neighborhood's concerns for it were not recognized and prioritized, even with the recognition of the problem that it's caused. So I appreciate it, and I'm just happy to hear that it's part of this process that we're reviewing right now. So again, thank you.
Christina, did you have a question?
Yeah, just in relation to this, I have not seen anything about the bioswale, but my understanding from our last meeting was that part of the problem was that with multiple buildings, releasing their wastewater on, uncoordinated schedules. That overflow was also a lot. And I'm curious, and I think this is a question for the city, was the bioswale designed with the capacity to hold the wastewater from the entire area or just this building?
I mean, I could just tell you quickly that it was originally designed for the area. And it was designed because there were also some, some code violation releases, where water still from suppression systems that wasn't, incorporated into the sewer, things like that. And that water that comes out of those systems is, noticeably black. That is why it's been given the moniker, the Black Lagoon. But this has been going on for 12 years. So well prior to the Capstone project, this has been an issue and one that we've been working to just address, is just clawing at it. So definitely the bioswale was designed prior to the Capstone project becoming even a concept.
I think that's all we had on our end from a presentation point of view. Is that correct, Noel?
Yeah, that was it. I'm happy to go
Yep.
through the pages or everything if there's any specific questions, but I think everybody's got the package in front of them, so we're happy to answer any questions. But again, wanted to be respectful of your time.
Okay, I just wanted to note for the record that Ryan has left the meeting. We still have a quorum. Would any other members like to comment at this time?
I just had a quick question. I mean, forgive me. I know I was unable to be at the last meeting. That was, some unforeseen circumstances. But I just heard mention of there is an amendment to the main gate overlay, and if somebody could just speak to that for me, because I haven't been updated about that. What the process was.
Certainly, Matt. Yeah, no, I was just going through kind of the history of how we got here with the process over the last 5 years with your neighborhood and the city is, we had the relocation of the houses, the text amendment to the main gate for this project. So no further amendments. This is just the implementing the amendment that we had processed last year. It was approved in January.
Right, that's the amendment I guess I'm asking about. I knew that the city had approved, the city council had approved a rezoning issue. I just don't know what that actually ended up being.
No
I
problem.
actually thought that this ended up being part of a planned area development because of that.
Oh, no, good question. Yeah, let me go back to here. So Matt, what we had done was the actual zoning vehicle for this was actually taking the West University plan, and in the West University plan they identified this corner as 4 and 6 story kind of stepping massing up towards to the neighborhood. And at the time when we started back in 2018, 2019, the height limitations that were in the height map, as you can see here, area 1, were fairly low, which kind of reflected the historic homes that were there. So along the edge of Euclid, basically the code allowed the height that you had today, which would have been like the 2-story house, just the height. And then it allowed a little bit more on the back side, 40 and 56 at the corner. So in looking at the rest of the provisions of main gate, and the project, we basically followed the stair stepping out of the both the neighborhood plan plus the stair stepping that was in the main gate overlay itself. And we made a modification, basically adding a new section D5, which relates to the redevelopment of the entire basically block that Capstone assembled. So it required that it be a uniform development plan, and modified the height elements to reflect what you see in the plan today, which is the 24-foot edge that then steps to 48 and then 73 at the top. And then we added a bit more. So we required the relocation of 5 of the historic homes, which has been accomplished, and then the retention of 2 others, which are on the south part of the site that are still out there today. We added to those step back transitions 1 through 5 here, which take those step backs that were in the plan here and tighten them up a little bit more to reflect what Matt and his team came up with, to add a lot more movement in that elevation. And then our townhouse-esque element, which is the 2-story piece along Euclid, and making sure there's some design standards here related to putting the active outdoor amenities like the swimming pool kind of down on the donut, so it wasn't up on Euclid, as well as allowing what we heard from the community was a desire to not have commercial if it could be avoided. So we actually added the ability to make it all residential. So design-wise, Speedway has a commercial feel, but its usage-wise is residential amenities only. And then we also have the redevelopment plan, which included some right-of-way dedications that are needed, looking at a pedestrian crossing at Euclid and First. So our traffic engineer is looking at that with the streets department for the city. And then that last one's the stormwater retention concept, which we were talking about a little earlier, something else that has to be worked out. So all of that gets you to the design that they came up with, that's before you, which has the 30 workforce housing units along the periphery with the step back in there, the building stepping back a little bit further, and I can have Matt walk through all of that. The 2 buildings that stay, and then the frontage along Speedway being office lobby, amenity space, and then turning the corner and being more residential along Euclid.
Yeah, I don't require him to go through not for my sake, the step backs. I just wanted to confirm that that was the mayor and council meeting, and that was the rezoning that.
Correct. Yeah, it was more of
it was basically it was the main gate overlay amendment.
Yeah. So we kept the vehicle there. We just made a few tweaks under the hood.
Okay, thank you.
Any other member comments?
I don't, Mr. Chair. I'm fine.
Thank you.
Actually, maybe one more. I'll be that guy.
Okay.
I do recall that there were some discussions with the neighborhood that I'm not privy to, and we don't have to go through all of them. I just want to confirm that whatever those agreements were with the neighborhood, you guys have set those agreements up and you're implementing those according to whatever those criteria were. Is that correct?
So Noel, if you don't mind, I'll answer that. This is Joe Villasenor, Chair, Mr. Chair, Commissioner Matt. Yes, we do have an agreement with the West University neighborhood community, and that agreement has been funded and fulfilled 100%, and is waiting for them to, they are actually, I keep in contact with Jim Block frequently, and that particular part of the agreement, we're not embarrassed to talk about any of it because we think it was wonderful, is for providing sidewalks in that community for quite a distance. And so that is now in the privy of the West University neighborhood, and I know they are communicating with the city of Tucson to try now to deploy the funds that we provided to them for that purpose.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? If not, I would ask Staff Maria, do we actually provide a vote on this, or is it still?
Yeah, we need a motion and the second and the voting, Mr. Chair.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the project as presented? I think you're muted, Tom.
To approve the project as presented, and make a motion to approve the project as presented, and would note the comments and confirmation that Commissioner Williams brought up.
Do I have a second for that?
Second it.
And who was that? I'm sorry.
That was Christy Currens.
Thank you. We'll proceed with the vote. Ms. Huber?
Good question. If I abstain, will I mess up the quorum?
We do have a quorum, yes.
Okay, I'd like to abstain. Thanks. Just
Thank
too
you.
new.
Dr. Currens?
I approve with the note mentioned.
Mr. Sensabar? He's not here.
He's not present.
Mr. Warren?
I approve.
Mr. Williams?
I approve.
I approve. This is Rick Gonzalez. Who do we have left? Mr. Birkenbein?
He recused, Mr. Chair.
Recused, okay. Ms. Huber recused as well.
And Mr. Goodall left at
Mr.
2:24 p.m.
So we have, correct me if I'm wrong, Maria, we have 4 approval and 2 recusals. So that passes.
We have 4 approvals and 1 abstained, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so 4-0 meets the quorum requirement and the project is approved.
Well, thank you all again for all of your help and time to this. Really appreciate it. And thank you
you.
for your service here on the board.
Thank you.
I just like to continue to be apprised of the stormwater retention progress. It's been a project that I've actually been recently requesting updates again. The previous contact, if he's not still it, was Carlos de la Torre, and there's no communication back. So I'd really like to be reintegrated into whatever group is now currently doing it. I know they've gone through different engineers at the city. So I'd really appreciate to be included again with that, that process. It's just been something we've been working with diligently. So.
Commissioner Williams, this is Joe Villasenor. If you could provide me your phone number, I can also keep you in the loop as we move through the process. Happy to do that because I'm doing that with Jim Block and Rick McDonald and others as well. So I'm happy to do that.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I had been forwarding information to Jim Block and Rick for quite a while. So yeah, I'd appreciate being included.
Can I get your contact info from them? Is that the best way for me to do that?
I'm just trying to figure out where I can send it to you here.
Commissioner, if you prefer, given the recorded nature of this, I could have Maria forward it after the meeting. That was okay. I can make sure it gets to you.
Yeah,
Okay,
and Mr. Williams, you have the email address for Joe Villasenor in the appointment.
Okay.
And also from Noel Griezmann, so you can just send them an email with your contact information. So they will also have your email address.
Okay. Is there a city representative here that I should be including in that as well?
I would just include Josh Garcia.
Okay. Happy to do it.
And I will keep you updated. I know the city staff is absolutely busier than ever, but I promise I will keep you updated as I also do.
That would be fabulous. Thank you.
All right, thank you for that. And we'll be sure that Mr. Williams is included in that information. Item 5, future agenda items. Do you
We
have
don't have
anything?
Oh. We don't have any updates, Mr. Chair. It's been a while since the DRC has reviewed any project, so I'm not sure when it's gonna be the next time. I don't have anything on my radar at this point. And I also wanted to welcome formally Ms. Huber to the Design Review Committee. She was appointed by the city manager last week, I think. I've forgotten now, Ms. Huber, sorry. But now she's an official voting member of the DRC. So thank you so much.
Yes, thank you and welcome.
Thank you. Are you through the university or through the Marshall Foundation?
Yeah, I'm the executive director for the Marshall Foundation.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Thank you all for attending and for your comments and for your presentation. And if there's nothing further, I'll adjourn the meeting. Everyone have a nice rest of their afternoon. The weather is pleasant now.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.